Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, I want to talk about grading. I want to talk about grading Pokemon cards because I get questions a lot nowadays. An awful lot. And essentially, the question I tend to get is, well, alright, Wassy, you've told us the other day that PSA are, to some degree, not accepting cards at the moment. It's very hard to get cards graded with PSA at the moment. So, what am I supposed to do? What am I actually expected to do? To put it another way, which grading service should I use? And I've had this question multiple times, and essentially, as far as I see it, there are 5 legitimate options, so I figured we might as well have a look at these legitimate options right now. Now, we talked about PSA the other day, and as it stands at the moment, PSA are largely suspending their services. Now, I should probably take a step back, shouldn't I? So, on the screen you can see a PSA 9 Pikachu VMAX, the Rainbow Rare from Vivid Voltage. And essentially, grading your card, for those who may be unaware, is where you send your card off to a company. They will take a look at it to appraise its condition. They will encase it in a nice slab, as we tend to call it, a nice thick plastic case which will preserve and protect it. And they will attach a grade here in terms of the condition of the card. So this Pikachu is a 9, it's not a 10, so it is mint. It is not gem mint, and because it is encased in this slab, it will remain a 9. And what this essentially does is 2 things. It guarantees the condition of a card while protecting it, which makes it very much more valuable. So, it will increase the value of the card many times over. So, to use Pikachu as an example, the last 2 PSA 10s that sold over on eBay in the US sold for $710 and $825, and you will see in the middle there was a pack fresh Rainbow Rare, which sold for $256, somewhere in the region of a third of the price. So essentially you can treble the value of a card by sending it off to get graded. Now both the examples on the screen are PSA 10s, a PSA 9 will not treble the value of the card, but it'll still add a couple $100 to it. So there are 2 reasons to get cards graded. Reason number 1 is to try and increase the value of your card to sell it. Reason number 2 is to have the condition appraised and protected to make it look nicer in your collection. And the question of how to grade your cards and which company to use will vary depending on which of those 2 people you actually are. Now, PSA remains an option, but it's not ideal. So I showed you this before, but essentially, effective immediately, PSA is temporarily suspending our value, regular, and express service levels. This will allow us to fully unbox and receive the recent surge of orders and focus on our most impacted service lines. Now they are going to be opening up on July the 1st, they think, but that is no guarantee. You can still grade through PSA. However, you've got to use one of the really, really premium services. Now, you absolutely still can do this, and that is absolutely fine, but you will be spending a fair amount of money. So if we go over to the website here and take a little bit of a look, the value for $20 a card is suspended, all the way up to the Express for $150 a card is suspended, but you can still use Super Express, which will charge you $300 per card. Now, this is not really PSA being mean, horrible people. This is PSA basically saying, look, we literally cannot run our business with the $20 a card thing at the moment. We literally can't do it. Feel free to use another grading service, and they are doing this to clear their backlog. Now, if you've got a card that you think is going to be worth $5,000 to $10,000 when it is graded, and you are looking to grade and sell it in the very near future, PSA remains a good option. Because, you know, if I'm taking a card and I'm going to add $3,000 to $4,000 to its value by grading it, and looking to sell it right away, and I'm spending $300 to grade it, Clearly, that works out quite nicely. That is money well spent. Clearly, if you're not looking to sell in the near future, if you're in no hurry, if you want to grade it for your collection but not necessarily to sell it, PSA shouldn't be an option right now. PSA, as it stands at the moment, what you should really be doing is using it if you have high value cards you're looking to grade and flip in the very near future. Outside of that, I really don't think PSA is something you should be considering because they've suspended the lower services and the turnaround times are honestly pretty gosh darned expensive. And that's fine. That is not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination. They're doing what they can for their business. They'll open up in the future. That is fine. But as it stands at the moment, that's how you should go for it. Now, the other premium option in terms of grading is Beckett. They are the equivalent, the alternative. Generally speaking, Beckett tend to be a little more high-end, but it really depends. A Beckett 10 will be worth more than a PSA 10, and there are actually two Beckett 10s, black label and gold label. One is a perfect 10, one is a 10 with a couple 9.5s here and there for subgrades, for centering and all of that. Whereas a Beckett 9, you'd be better off with a PSA 10. So if you're really confident in the quality of your card, Beckett might be an option. Having said that, if we look at their turnaround times, premium, you can get it back in 15 business days, that's 3 weeks. But economy submissions, you're looking at 11 plus months. So not unlike with PSA, you could be waiting a year to actually get it back, to get your card returned to you. That is not ideal, frankly, ladies and gentlemen. That is not ideal. Now you can see there that the Beckett prices seem pretty competitive. The economy, now this is whether you want subgrades or not. So subgrades will give you a grade for the surface, a grade for the centering, a grade for the corners, and etc. Really kind of break it down. So your $20 a card economy sounds pretty good, but remember you're going to be waiting 11 months or more to get that back. But your premium submissions, which you can get not too far in the future, you could be paying $250 per card, which is honestly not terrible. Now, we are still talking about pretty expensive. I mean, remember the cheapest PSA have at the moment is $300 a card. Beckett, the decent turnaround is $250, so you're still paying a decent amount. You know, if you've got like a $500 card, this isn't an option, but it's there, and Beckett are still grading. There's just pretty long turnaround times. You have been warned. Although I should warn you that Beckett, not unlike PSA, they have actually gone and suspended their 10-day service. So the fastest one around there, unfortunately, it seems like Beckett have, in the last few days, actually gone and suspended it as it stands. So, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. But, hey-ho, that's honestly not unforeseeable as it stands. Now, the other option in terms of companies with a reputation is CGC. Now, CGC is kind of a weird one. For years, they were comics. And if you wanted comics graded, you would go to CGC. They were the ones you wanted. They have recently started going over into trading cards, and that's lovely. However, they don't have the reputation of a Beckett or a PSA. And I'm sorry if that sounds mean, but they don't. A graded card graded with CGC is going to have a lower value than an equivalent card of an equivalent grade graded by PSA and Beckett. CGC are the clear number 3, and I'm sorry if that sounds mean, and I'm sorry if that sounds, well, mean, but it's true. They are, as far as I am concerned, and as always, all I'm doing here is giving my advice. I've got my ear to the ground. I'm telling you what I think. If you disagree, then by all means, go and use whoever you like. I am purely just giving you some advice, and you can take with it what you will. Now, in terms of CGC, we've basically got, again, another table which will show you essentially how long it takes and what they're working with. So we've got bulk cards, so you have to send 50, only for cards worth up to $250, $15 per card, and it's going to take 228 days to turn around, which is clearly not cheap. Now, economy, you can have up to a $500 card graded for $25. It will take 120 days. And we go up to express there, which you can get a $10,000 card graded, and you'll only pay $60, and it'll be turned around in 7 days. Now, if we compare that to the others, I mean, if you want a high-value card graded with the other companies, I mean, well, I showed you the figures. Beckett are going to charge you $250 per card, and PSA are going to charge you, well, $600 per card for a potential $10,000 card, or $300 if it's under 5. This is $60. So you can see why CGC is appealing to a lot of people. It is a cheaper option, and honestly, a lot of the days it's a faster option. If I've got a really high value card that I want to go and get graded, you know, up to 10,000, which is the majority of Pokemon cards, let's be honest here, I can spend $60 and have it back in a week. Which, compared to what we've seen for Beckett and PSA, is clearly something that we're going to be liking. However, CGC does not attract the same value as PSA and Beckett grading. So you're not paying as much, and you're getting them back faster, but it's not increasing the value as much. Now, if you want to go for collections, this is a pretty good option, because CGC have not been doing trading cards for that long. They have not had the time to build up their reputation in the same way as a PSA or a Beckett has. And what that means is that there is absolutely possibility in the future that CGC will be up at the level of a Beckett or a PSA. But this is very much a prediction on your part. It really is as simple as that. You are hoping that as you go through, this is going to build up. And it might, but it might not. So if you want to take the risk, CGC is definitely the most likely company to get that reputation over the next few years, and they are certainly faster and cheaper than the other two, but as it stands at the moment, they are a distant third place. So your three options so far are PSA, which is still a good option if you've got a super premium card, Beckett, which is probably your nearest equivalent to PSA, and CGC that are a clear third place, but they are cheaper and faster as it stands at the moment. Now, the other option is another company. Which other company? Another company. Because the fact of the matter is, these are popping up all over the place. Now, I did put a tweet out yesterday basically asking people, hey, what are you using in terms of grading? And I had a few companies shout it out. Now, the one which has just started in the UK and I am hearing good things about is Get Graded. Now, let's be 100% clear right at the beginning. I don't work for Get Graded. I am not sponsored by Get Graded. I have not used Get Graded, and I am in no way, shape, or form telling you that you should use them. I am not recommending them. I am telling you that they are a new company that are, well, just opened up recently in the UK. Now, as it stands at the moment, if you've got a premium card, I don't think you can really use a new company like this if you have any real inkling to sell in the future. I just don't think you can. Because the fact of the matter is, and this is one example, there are plenty others out there, there are a bunch of these newer grading companies or lesser known grading companies, and honestly, the value of this card is not going to be that much more than the raw card, as mean as that might sound. So let's take a random sought after card. Let's take the Pokémon Charizard Illustration Promo. This is the Illustrator Charizard. Raw, it's worth about £15, and a perfect 10 grade here was put up to £51, which is fine, but If we take, for instance, a PSA 10, you're up to £110. That's kind of the point I'm getting at here. And honestly, this has added more value than most. There is a PSA 9, which has been graded by PCA, which is another one of these newer companies, and that's sold for £30, which is £15 more than the raw card would have cost you. When it comes to these companies, the deal is this. If you want to get them graded for your collection, if you want to have them protected and appraised, these newer, smaller companies like Get Graded and PCA, go for it. They are perfect for that as it stands at the moment. If you're looking to add value to your cards and sell them, you can't really use these newer companies. And that's not me being mean or horrible. The entire point of grading cards is that you are using the reputation of the company to add value. Newer companies don't have that reputation and therefore logically cannot add the same level of value. I don't think that's an unfair statement to make. Now, I did say there were 5 options. The 5th option basically is wait. And this is the option I am personally choosing right now. I have not... My collection compared to other people that have been playing as long as me is not as good as it should be, and I feel a great sense of personal shame about that. But the fact of the matter is, I have a bunch of cards that are worth grading. What I don't have is a pile of money to throw at the grading process at the moment. So I do want to get them graded, and in 20, 30, 40 years' time, I do intend starting to offload them. So I would like to get them graded by a company with a reputation, but frankly, I'm in no hurry whatsoever. They're all in top loaders and binders and things of that nature. I am happy that they are safe and protected where they are. So I'm going to leave them there for the moment, and I'm going to wait and see what happens in the future. As I told you in a previous video, grading has exploded lately, and quite frankly, this is the worst time to get your cards graded. And in that previous video, I told you bluntly, don't grade your Pokemon cards. Now is a bad time to get them graded. I still feel like that, incidentally. I still feel like there has never been a worse, literally, never been a worse time to grade your Pokemon cards. But the fact of the matter is, since I made that video, I've had a bunch of messages from people being like, okay, well, see, that's brilliant, you know, good on you and all of that. I want to grade my Pokemon cards. What do I do? Where do I go? And I thought, well... At this stage, it's a little bit mean not answering the question now, isn't it? So now you know those are your options and you can do with them what you will. What I would like you to do, however, is tell me what you think about this, which grading company you would use, which option you would take up in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching What's He Plays.